This is Chloë and Antoine.
Brought an extra mug just in case.
Yeah, you know, you never know how many mugs you need.
Extra coffee.
So I love the Eminem song in that trailer. And how did you, like, was that something, like, did you know right away that you wanted Eminem for the soundtrack?
Oh yeah, no question. But it came late actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were going to do Southpaw together, another film.
Right.
And you know, I spoke to Paul about some music, and he said when he saw the movie, he said M has a perfect track that he's working on. It wasn't done yet.
Okay.
And they wouldn't let anybody else hear it, so he physically brought it over to Sony and played it for me, and I was like, it's hot, and it's only going to get better.
Yeah. So I know you guys, obviously you made Training Day with Denzel, like we said. That was 13 years ago. I know you had tried to make other movies with him in the last 13 years. And I read an interview you did with the LA Times. You were kind of like, you told your agent he'll call you when he's ready, I guess. So I guess for this one, like when did he call you, I guess? And what's that call like when Denzel's like, hey, let's do this?
What you doing? It's D. You ready? That's how it works.
That's it, yeah.
Of course. That's what you say. You just go, of course, when do we start?
Yeah. What do you think? I mean, Training Day, I think, is like Denzel's best performance. And then, like, I think he's really, really good in this, obviously, too. What are you getting out of him that maybe another director doesn't think to get?
I don't know, what I'm getting out of him that other directors don't get. I mean, I think he's done some amazing performances for other directors, right? We just trust each other. It's all about trust, and we collaborate. We have a certain rhythm. We sort of understand each other sometimes where I don't have to say anything or he doesn't have to say anything. He knows I'm going to capture it, and I know he's going to bring it. Yeah. So it's just that sort of relationship. Right.
And Chloë, I know you had said you're really good in this movie too, and you said that working with Denzel was like a master class in acting. I saw you say that on like the premiere, I think. What specifically like about it was so great for you?
I mean, honestly, when you're working with an actor like that, it's something that you learn from like talking to them in a sense. It's not like, he's sitting me down and he's like, I'm gonna give you advice on your life and like this is what you should learn. It's literally just being in the moment on set when you're looking into his eyes, and he is Robert McCall. You look into his eyes and you don't go, oh, it's Denzel Washington playing Robert McCall. You go, that's Robert. I don't see anyone else. I see the complete and entire being of this man in front of me. And we're feeding off of each other's emotions so raw and naturally. And I think that's also, a lot of that goes up to Antoine too, for creating that atmosphere on set to where we're able to just kind of go in there and be these characters and not have to think about what actors we are and what we're trying to portray and what we want to look like. And it just kind of falls into place. And it was kind of a masterclass in this whole business, if not just acting, but I think it's a masterclass in directing and acting and kind of just emotional use, I think.
Yeah, like it sounds like it is, but is that kind of like a unique situation then that you would say? Like it's not like that in other movies or, in your experience?
Yeah, I think for me, especially because, when you're walking into an atmosphere where the director and the lead have worked together before, you don't know what it's going to be like. You don't know if you're going to be excluded. You don't know if it's going to be like, oh, okay, like I'm the odd man out in like this little boys club. You know what I mean? It's like I feel weird, but no, I walked in and it was so natural and cool. And a lot of times you walk in on set and there's some sort of hierarchy feeling and like, like, oh, be quiet, Denzel's walking on set. It was not like that. Everyone was like, oh, cool, it's just another actor doing their job.
Right. It's obviously humongously, I think it's like a key role in the film, your character, because like it's kind of like their relationship is the impetus for the whole story, basically, and you have to kind of really get that in a short amount of time to make like, the audience root for him and understand where he's coming from and stuff. I guess when you're casting that part, I'm sure you saw like, or imagine you saw like a lot of people. What made Chloë stand out for you for this character?
Chloë's special. Honestly, it's want to leave the room? Don't start crying.
I'm just gonna hide.
Now, Chloë's amazing. We met with a lot of different women. I had a lot of meetings, a lot of readings. Amy Pascal at Sony said, "Have you met Chloe?" And I was like, "No, I never met her. I knew her from Hugo's, the little girl in Hugo and stuff, and her other work." And I was thinking, how young is she? And she goes, "Yeah, you should meet her. She's special." I was like, "Yeah, of course, I'd love to meet her." And then Chloe came over to the office and walked in the room, and immediately it's something about Chloe. When she comes in the room, I mean, as you can see, she's very poised and very confident. And were you 15 or 16 when you walked in the room?
15 when I walked in.
So 15 years old, she walks in the room. She was very clear about her thoughts on the script and the material. We sat and talked for maybe an hour and a half. I don't even remember how long. And it was very comfortable and easy. And you're talking about, for me, talking to a 15-year-old about playing a prostitute. So it was a little uncomfortable, but she made it easy in the conversation. And then I called Denzel. I said, "Do you know Chloe?" He said, "Yeah, I know who she is." I said, "You should meet her. You have time. You should come in and read with her just to see how they feel with each other." Because, you want to do that to make sure the chemistry's right. And immediately when she walked in the room and Denzel walked in the room, I just sat back in the corner and watched them just start to play and talk and laugh, and it was instant. Like I could see the whole movie right there. And that's special when you see that. And she's a pro.
And not to put you on the spot now and vice versa or the other way, but I mean, what did you think, like, you kind of mentioned this too before, but I mean, what did you think of, like, Antoine's directing style and stuff? Like, what surprised you, I guess, working with him?
Honestly, what was so beautiful about his approach to this film and my character in particular is that he took a girl where a lot of directors would have sexualized her and would have turned her into kind of this, what she is, a prostitute in a movie. And what he did and the way he approached it and the way I got this feeling from him in our first meeting together is that he didn't want to use her in that way. He didn't want her, to show what she was doing when she walked outside of that diner. He wanted to see the young girl who wants to be the singer, the young girl who has a dream, who has a fire inside of her in that diner. And that hit me so hard because as a young girl in a business, I've felt, like people have tried to sexualize me before from the time I was 13 on. And I was always going like, oh my God, like what's happening? And then when you step into a role like this, it's a very special role. And to put a girl at the real age of the character in a role is really iffy because you don't know how the audience is going to respond. You don't know how anyone's going to respond. And he took a huge risk casting me at 16 as Alina or Terry. And it just felt so real and not like I was just some plot device. You know what I mean?
Chloe, I gave her a place to go with these young prostitutes. Sort of a halfway house, if you will, for young prostitutes.
It was amazing.
And she went and spent time with them and really put a lot of effort, more than once.
Yeah, it was like 3 times. They were the most amazing girls I ever met. Yeah.
It's interesting you bring that up. You were on the cover of Allure in August, I believe, and you had this great quote about being a feminist that I still see come up on Tumblr. I just saw it this weekend. I just want to read it. It's, "Feminism to me is standing up for everything that someone else has already done for you. My mom has overcome so much in her life. She makes me want to stand up for myself, stand up to the studio heads who try to tell me that I can't have blonde hair, they want brown hair, or I need bigger boobs, or I need to work out, or I'm too skinny, so eat a cheeseburger. I stand up for myself every day of my life. I grew up in a family of 4 boys. I'm like a born feminist. I've been a feminist since I was 4 years old." And that's a really great quote. I was wondering, how do your personal values, I guess, affect the type of things that you want to do in your career and now and going forward?
Well, that was, again, that was a major point in this script because as a feminist, you kind of look at a lot of these roles in movies and a lot of young female characters that I've turned down playing have been specifically because they're just the typical kind of female plot device, which is like a damsel or a sexual, boobs out, ass up, kind of that's all we need, and I was always I don't want to play that girl. I kind of broke onto the scene in Kick-Ass, and that was a movie that was not usual for an 11-year-old, and it was because I wasn't a usual 11-year-old. I didn't want to play the little sister, And I always told my mom and my brother that. I was like, I don't want to do these roles. I don't want to play the plot device. And ever since then, I just never did. And growing up in a family with 4 boys, I never was the plot device in my family. I was never just the little girl in the corner. I was the one playing like wide receiver with my brothers doing football and like killing them, beating them up in like boxing and stuff. Like I never wanted to be in the back seat. I always wanted to be the driver.
And it's interesting. I mean, like just this film, like in the span of a month, I've seen you were in If I Stay, which is like, a teen YA. You were in this film, obviously, is a different kind of genre. You were in, I went to, humble brag, but I went to the Toronto Film Festival. I saw you in Clouds of Sils Maria, which is like amazing. And she plays an actress like that you would expect a young actress to kind of be like. It's like a satire. You're in Laggies. I mean, like it's kind of hard to pin down, like all those films are different. It's kind of really hard to pin down, I guess, what you're doing. I feel like that makes you like kind of an anomaly. It seems like Hollywood likes to put people in boxes and make them, stay. I mean, you have to consciously fight against that every chance you get, basically.
I mean, I definitely have, studio heads and people wanting to put me in a box. After Kick-Ass, they wanted me to only play the bad girl. And, when I was a little kid, I was only auditioning for, like, the little baby Satan roles. Or, like, the little girl who was, like, sexually molested or something. And, like, those were the only 2 characters that were out there. And I was always like, I don't want to do that. Again, I was like, I don't want to be, the little Winnie the Pooh girl. And I don't want to be the little girl who has a prostitute for a mom. And, you know what I mean? I just never wanted to play into the stereotypes. I've always been one against all stereotypes that I've seen in life in general. And my mom, I have to give her a lot of credit in that because she kind of raised me in that setting in real life, which then I think, art imitates life. So it just kind of bled into it a little bit.
And I guess, Antoine, do you feel that as, like, there's that great scene in the trailer that we showed where Denzel's talking about the old man, and I love that he's like, fish is a fish, old man's an old man, you are who you are in this world. I feel like for, like we said, like Chloe's got a bunch of different movies coming out. She's always got a chance to reinvent herself. A director, it's maybe harder because you're doing like one movie a year if you're lucky, and like it's kind of like you are who you are. It, like basically turns into like, what have you done for us lately? Do you find that? Is that hard for you as a director? I mean, had you like going? I mean, you've had big hits and you've had movies that maybe didn't live up to whatever expectations were set, at least financially. I mean, do you have like, how do you navigate that and make sure that people are not like, oh, we can't think of Antoine for this because he does this?
I mean, you just have to keep doing the work. You know what I mean? Like you can't think about that as much. Everybody wants to put everyone in a box. I mean, everyone wants to call a movie an action movie or action thriller or a drama, or Chloe should play this, or Denzel should play that, or Antoine should direct this. Certainly, if you have a success at anything, that's where they're going to come at you hard for, and that's not bad. It's up to you to just find something to show the other side of yourself. You have to try to find other material that you respond to, and then you have to go hard after that material and convince people that you can do it. But it's a tricky business that way because it is show business, right? So if you do a show and it does business, they're going to want you to do that show again, do some more good business. But I find that I've been able to break out a little bit more, a little more now recently. Like I said, I just did Southpaw, which is really more of a drama. It's a boxing movie, so you have to slowly do it, right? And Training Day wasn't an action movie. But people want to give me action movies a lot, so people put it in the box and call it what they want to call it.
Right. I mean, and Olympus Has Fallen, different kind of movie too.
Olympus Has Fallen is a whole different kind of movie.
Yeah. Do you, one of the things, a through line, I think, or at least, there's like in your films that I like, Training Day, obviously, and Olympus Has Fallen. This one, it's like how like evil people in power will kind of like tread towards evil if they're not being watched, basically, kind of like things that people can get away with if no one is like kind of watching them. And like there's this great scene in Equalizer, not really a spoiler alert, but Denzel's character is watching these 2 crooked cops and he ends up videotaping them, I believe, right? And then like as they're shaking down a local business. And it really, watching it after, the summer we had like with what happened in Ferguson and even like the Ray Rice scandal, like you see, like it kind of takes like a new meaning, at least it did to me. I guess, in the film, you obviously have Denzel as, like, the equalizer, right? Like, he's the one who's going to protect us from these monsters. But, like, do you ever think, like, who in real life is going to do that? Not to make it, like, too like much of a ridiculous kind of like overarching thing, but like who do you ever think about that? I mean, like it seems like it's important to your work, at least based on these past films. I guess is that something you think about, like who's watching The Watchmen?
Well,
I guess.
I hope we don't have somebody running around killing a lot of people because they do something wrong
Right.
all the time. No, but yeah, I mean, I do think, right? I do think that, I mean, absolutely. We live in a world of people abuse power. I mean, it's built in the DNA of most human beings. You get too much power, people will abuse it. Right. And a lot of times, I definitely have an issue with it. That's what you see in my films. And sometimes power is abused because of pressure. So a lot of the movies are about people under pressure. And pressure sometimes makes you make the wrong decision. In Brooklyn's Finest, it was Ethan Hawke's character that was under pressure because his wife was diagnosed with, she had a disease, she had a baby, she had a problem, she couldn't breathe, and it was killing her. So as a cop, to me, you took an oath. But if there's a pile of money sitting on the table and you take $1, you're corrupt, right? So it's a fine line. But yeah, I mean, and I believe we do have people in our system that are equalizers, right? We do have a system. It does work. It does. I mean, we do hear about some ugly things. It's not perfect for sure. And Ferguson and all that stuff, it's a heartbreak all the way around. It always is for everybody, right? But, we have people in our military that are out there every day, and they're the real equalizers. They put their lives on the line for us. So I believe we have them.
Now, I know there's already talk of a sequel for The Equalizer, I believe. I don't think you're going to call it The Sequelizer, but if you do, you could...
The Chloë-lizer.
What is it?
Chloe's kicking butt.
Well, yeah, you're going to roll... I mean, have you thought... Like, it would be Denzel's first sequel, I believe, right? I mean, have you guys actually... It's kind of crazy to talk about it before the movie even comes out, but, I mean, that's, like you said, show business. Like, this thing doesn't stop. So, like, have you thought a lot about it already or anything? And would, like, Chloë return? I mean, she could.
Well, first of all, I would love to see Chloë again, in anything, really.
I become Robert McCall.
Right.
Yeah.
I start dressing up like him.
She shaves all of her hair off, and she's a badass. I mean, you can't help but think about it. It's been a part of a conversation. The people will decide. If the people show up and the movie does well, certainly there's a good chance of it being one. And if the script comes in great and Mr. Washington wants to do it and Sony obviously said they want to do it, you'll see another one for sure.
Yeah. Do you? You talked about Southpaw and stuff. I wanted to actually look. When I was doing research for this, I forgot that you had directed Antoine directed a bunch of great music videos too before he became a feature film director. You directed Gangsta's Paradise video, which is awesome, and I was listening to it today. I happen to be on my Spotify because that's always in heavy rotation. It's just a great song. But do you remember? That's almost hilariously. It's like 19 years old. So it's.
Yeah, thanks.
We're getting old. You're old. Chloë, you're not old, but I'm certainly old. Antoine,
Wow.
I don't want to speak for you, but that was a long time ago. But what do you remember about it, if you can?
I can't remember anything anymore.
It may be 19 years old, but he made it when he was like 18.
Oh, right, yeah. Antoine's a young guy.
That's funny. What do I remember about...
I feel like that was like a really big video, though.
Gangsta's Paradise?
Yeah, it's like a very iconic video.
I remember the most about Gangsta's Paradise is Michelle Pfeiffer.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because Jerry Bruckheimer had called me to do the video, and I loved the song when I heard it. And Coolio at that time, if some of you might be too young to even know who Coolio is, but anyway, he was a rapper that was actually popular back then.
Oh my God.
Right, and I remember telling Jerry, I said, I would love to do the video, but is there any way Michelle Pfeiffer would be in the music video? And he goes, I don't know. I'll call her and ask her. Called me back about an hour later. He goes, at that time, you click over. Did they do click over on the phones then?
Call waiting.
Call waiting.
For
So he
those
said,
who don't know,
I got
it beeped.
Michelle Pfeiffer on the phone. And I was Michelle Pfeiffer. And I was in love with Michelle Pfeiffer.
She's beautiful.
Oh, my God.
She's so sexy.
Still beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm seeing her in Scarface coming down that elevator. And she gets on the phone, and she's the coolest lady in the world. And she's like, we'll tell me your idea. like nervous, pitching Michelle Pfeiffer's idea for this video. So you're gonna be with all these gangsters, and it's gonna be like a few gangbangers around. You're gonna be like, she's listening, and I'm just waiting for the phone to just go, boo. And she was like, okay, let me think about it and write it down, and then I'll let you know. Mm-hmm. Got it to her the next day, and Burkheimer Comic Goes said Michelle Pfeiffer's gonna do the music video.
Wow.
That's my memory.
That's crazy, and it was a huge success. I mean, do you feel like that kind of stuff helped you like get become like a feature filmmaker? I mean,
yeah, because she enjoyed the experience with me. I mean, I was younger, and it sort of changed the way they started selling movies a bit, because it was when they started using music videos and intercut that with the movie, and it was and it made the movie went through the roof, and it wasn't tracking well. And it wasn't scoring well, and then they did the music. I know, right?
Tracking is so silly.
Scary, right? But then I did the music video, and it just went through the roof. And the video, I got an MTV award and all that stuff for it, and it helped the movie. And
yeah, it was huge. I mean,
Bruckheimer gave me a lot of credit for it.
Yeah.
Thank God for him. And then that's got me into the movie business.
Right. And Chloë, I'm sure you talked all about this with Michelle on Dark Shadows, right? Like I know you were in that with our own show.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, she's a cool person. She's an icon. You know what I mean? That look she's had for so long. It's like, she's iconic at this point, for sure.
All right, I guess
you're on that road though. Huh? You got the same thing going.
The same kind of feeling. That's a huge compliment. Seriously. I'm obsessed with her.
No, seriously.
For real. Like I saw.
She's got the same energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does. I can see that.
Michelle Pfeiffer's a very grounded, cool lady.
Well, they're doing a Scarface remake or whatever, right? I think I heard that somewhere.
Oh God,
really?
So
yeah, I
many
thought
remakes.
so.
No,
All they're doing
do
is
that.
remakes.
Antoine and I are doing it together.
Yeah, you want to do a Scarface?
Scarface is already a remake.
Yeah, it's another remake.
A remake. It's like a remake.
A remake of a
Inception.
remake.
No.
Yeah.
Stop.
Don't do it.
Not Scarface. I got a remake I'm going to do next, too.
What do you got
but
coming?
It's not as
Oh, I know what you have
popular as
coming.
Scarface.
Magnificent Seven, right? Is Denzel in that with you?
Yeah.
Yeah. How's that one coming? It's not like a remake, though? That's also a remake
It's a
of a remake, then.
Seven Samurai.
Yeah.
But Scarface, come on. You can't remake Scarface.
No.
Al Pacino was the man.
He
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Leave that alone.
You'll never get that cast like that. You'll never get the people so perfect for those roles.
No.
Ever again.
Maybe they'll have Al Pacino in it as like a callback to the original, right? That's what they love to do now too, where it's like, oh, we'll put the real
As a cameo?
Yeah, a cameo of Al Pacino playing like Tony Montana and like
Too many remakes.
come back for life or whatever, right? Because he's spoiler alert. Al Pacino dies at the end of Scarface. Everybody, I'm sorry to ruin this movie
No
for you.
one's seen that movie.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry.
Jesus.
So anyway, I thought we could open it up for some Q&A questions if anybody has any for Antoine or Chloë.
I have one.
Yes, go for it, please.
Chloë, in such a short, small amount of time, you've worked with who's who of directors, Antoine, Tim Burton. I think you just worked with Soderbergh. What do you get from that from so quickly? Like, are you learning? And Antoine, I guess to you, it's not bad to have Denzel as a go-to, but are there any actors or actresses who you'd like to work with?
I think working with the amazing amount of talent that I've worked with at a young age has definitely really shaped me, for sure. I think I've learned so much. I mean, at 13 years old, I worked with Martin Scorsese, and I think that that taught me so much about directing, and I worked with Bob Richardson, who's like one of the best cinematographers, and that taught me so much about cinematography, and I think what it's done working with all these directors like Antoine Fuqua and Steven Soderbergh and Tim Burton, I mean, it's made me appreciate more than just acting. It's made me appreciate the entire process, which is actually why I want to go to college to learn cinematography and kind of more the mathematical side of it that you can't learn from just being around it. And I don't know. I think I've learned to really appreciate filmmaking because I think it's one of the most beautiful things that we have. And to see so many cogs work so perfectly together to create such a masterpiece, I mean, it says a lot about the chemistry these people have together. I mean, you look at Antoine and Denzel alone, and just that chemistry is why The Equalizer is such a great movie, because it's completely symbiotic. They're on the same wavelength. I mean, they speak to each other like within looks, and they just know what they're doing, and you're on the same page. And I think it just made me really, it made me really appreciate more than just being an actor. Yeah.
Yeah. The question for me was?
anyone that you haven't worked with or that you're looking forward to, considering?
Yeah, there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent. I mean, Michael Fassbender, Christian Bale. I mean, these are some like really powerful actors.
Michael
that I love to work
Fassbender's
with,
beautiful.
Oh my
So
God!
pretty. He's beautiful. I'm sorry.
See, this is what you got to deal with when you're directing. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, Michael Fassbender. I'm like, can you focus on the character right now, Chloe?
But he's so pretty.
Yeah, but yeah, there's some talent. I mean, and yeah, some powerful actors out there.
Cool. Anybody have any other questions? We have one over here and then one in the back.
Yeah, for the both of you, at what point during filming, if at all, do you realize this movie has potential to be really special? Like, is there a point during the filming process as an actor or a director where you think this could be even better than I imagined?
For me, it's honestly, it's when the actors show up on the set. It's part of all the conversations we're having here, cinematography or the grips, the electrics, and then the actors show up on the set. And there's a magic when you have the right actors, and when you see them starting to do what they do. There's, you know what I mean? They bring their own magic, their own art form to what you had already in your head, and what's it has a potential when you feel like when you forget to say cut because you're in it, like you're at a play and you're just sitting there. Chloë and Denzel are going. I'm just sitting there and I'm waiting around until they look at me and they're like, "That's all we got. Are you done, Antoine?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, cut." That's when you kind of know, right? Because it's not one entity. It's not separate entities. It's all one. So once that all feels like it's all clicking, all cylinders are clicking, and you're lost in it yourself as a director, when you're in it and you're enjoying it, that's when you have the feeling. Because, you have to, I'm an audience member. I love movies. So if I get engaged, like as if I'm at the movies, then, yeah, that's when it happens.
And we had one in the back over there.
The question is for both of you. I just want to know who inspires you.
Chloë? No, seriously.
Oh, God.
It's true. Other artists inspire me. Other artists. Chloë inspires me. Denzel inspires me. That's where it starts for me. It's like people who raise the bar of where they are in their craft. That's what gets me excited. Normally, it's people. I mean, there's obviously directors I admire and things like that, but inspiration is hard to come by. It really is for me as a director. Honestly, when I'm sitting on the set and I see actors like Chloë and Denzel do their work, or if I'm watching even Fassbender, when I see the actors, it's like that's what everything they do is what makes your camera move or not move, or the lens you choose, or the lighting. It all comes out of like the embodiment of Chloë and Denzel and actors. It inspires everything you do. If you don't have the right person in front of you, you don't even want to get up in the morning and film them. It's like, oh, this guy's going to be a pain in the ass. And not even that good, and I got to go film this guy. I got to find something cool to do, make it interesting for me. It's like, that's
Who's
inspiration.
that?
Huh?
Who's that?
Huh?
Who is that?
I think she's asking who that was.
Yeah.
I'm becoming a gossip blogger now.
Oh, God. You see it online right now. If I mention such and such. No, but that's it. The inspiration comes from my team. That's where it comes from.
Chloë, how about you?
I mean, honestly, it's the same thing. I mean, I think, for me, since I started acting when I was like 5, I didn't, my inspiration came from like the happiness that I got from it. And I think I still judge it that way. I still judge it that way when I read a script. And if I have that feeling, that same feeling I had when I was like 5 years old, like rolling up on set, and it just made me so happy. And when I read scripts now, I know what's the right project. I know what the right character is by that feeling you get in your chest. And you just know that it's right. You know that it's true. And you can't like go to bed without thinking, oh my God, I gotta make this movie. I gotta be a part of this. I gotta play that character. Like, I have to get those emotions out of my body that are already building up for her. Like, it's just like a natural kind of thing, and that's, it's just inspiration.
Yeah, I was with Ethan Hawke last night. He came to our IMAX premiere. Haven't seen Ethan in a couple of years. And I love Ethan. And just being with him again and his energy and talking about movies and talking about working together again, I got so excited again immediately. I was like, all right, I got to find something for Ethan in this right away because I love him, and I got excited. And that's where you get these ideas. You start going again from your talent that you love as a director. That's why that's where it comes from, the passion.
You get to see Boyhood yet? I know you've been busy.
No. I'm gonna go. I was trying to go tonight, but I forgot I got to do something else tonight.
Yeah.
So when I get back to LA,
It's good.
I'll go. I
It's
heard.
really good.
I heard.
He's good.
And I'm so excited. Yeah.
Anybody have any other questions for our? We have one more. One more question. There was one in the back over there or up front here. We can do this one up front here. That's good.
My question's for Antoine. Obviously, directing music videos is a very different beast than directing a film, but I'm curious whether your experience with music and music videos has informed the way that you incorporate scores and music into the feature films that you work on as well.
Yeah, it finds its way in there, absolutely. Music videos is an interesting format, because you learn the language of the camera, of the lenses, and how you can convey or how you can capture an image quickly, and what it means to move the camera and not move the camera. In movies, what happens is you have to forget all that because you can get in your own way quite a bit. But it does help me. I listen to music sometimes to just get a flow because I'm used to that, because I used to listen to music when I would write the synopsis. So sometimes it's good for a rhythm, So music videos are really helpful for me, especially when I'm dealing with action sequences. Because it's like a ballet. It's like conducting. Very helpful.
Cool. I think that's all the time we have for you guys. So let's give a big warm round of applause for Antoine and Chloë.